My name is Pushan Ayub. I am a professor of physics at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bombay. So I am a sort of scientist by profession, also by hobby. So this is sort of one of the few professions where you can mix the hobby with your work. So anyway, so I am in Bombay since 1981. Before that, I was in Calcutta. And this is all about my mother and father, so I'll sort of now move over to them. My father was Abu Said Ayub. He is known to many people in both parts of Bengal as a literary critic and a writer on Tagore, and also translator of some Urdu poetry. So he was based in Calcutta all his life. He was born in Calcutta. He's there for 3 generations. My mother was Gauri Ayub. She was born in Patna, and her father's side was from Mymensingh in East Bengal at that time. So they were settled in Patna, and she met my father in Shantiniketan, and they got married when she was a student there, and my father was a professor. So this was sort of early history. As far as the Bangladesh freedom movement is concerned, I personally believe that my mother's contribution was greater because she also was recognized earlier. So I think that is the general perception. My father, of course, is better known for his contributions, and they were quite complementary personalities. So my father was very focused. He was working in one area. He would only work in that area. He would not meet anybody during, before sunset because his eyesight was weak. He couldn't work after dark. So, and during that time, he would meet nobody who came to see him. Even after that, he was very selective about whom he would meet and talk to, and he would have to like them and he would have to know them. My mother, on the other hand, would sort of spread herself extremely thin. So she was a teacher by profession. She was teaching in a college, but she was I mean, I recently wrote a short biography about her, and she was not only a writer. She was a writer of short stories about political commentaries, about all sorts of things that bothered her, and everything bothered her almost. So she was a writer, she was a social worker, she was a social activist. She was one of the few people who started the movement for communal harmony in West Bengal in 1965 after a sort of serious communal riot had broken out there. And she was very much involved in 2 other things. One was the Bangladesh freedom movement, and the other was the imposition of emergency in 1974 in India. So let me talk about the freedom movement. So at that time we got, I think, involved because some of my father's relatives, Colonel Zaman, Sultana Zaman, they actually went over and they stayed with us for a large part of 1971 with their daughters, the very talented Naila and Lubna. One was a very good dancer, the other was a very good singer. They still are. And we got to know them very well during the war. So that was one of the plus points we had. And a lot of very interesting people started coming to our house at that time, people who were involved in the freedom movement directly, who were actually in the war. So at that time, we had a 2-room flat in Calcutta. And these 2 rooms served as our bedroom, dining room, my father's study, sometimes a political meeting place, sometimes a ward where people would get treated for their wounds when they came from Bangladesh with war wounds, all kinds of things. So my mother at that time, under the guidance of Moitri Devi, who was also a very well-known social worker, and also an extremely powerful writer. She has written some very good, very powerful books. So these 2 ladies, very strong personalities both, they got together, and one of the many things that they did at that time was founding of Khelaghar, which was an orphanage about 40 kilometers north of Calcutta. And they sort of, first of all, took care of and then sort of brought up a large number of Bangladeshi orphans. And we would also go there often. I mean, the situation initially was very bad. You all know about the refugee camps and how it was. And there were a lot of children who got the worst of it. And they thought that, we can't take care of everybody, but let us at least try to take care of the most vulnerable, section of this population. And of course, I mean, the questions that many people asked is, there are so many, I mean, 1 crore people, maybe 10% of them are children, are orphans. How many can you take care? So they always said that we can take care of how many we can. So we don't know what will happen to the others, but at least let us take care of these, few hundred. So Khelaghar is still going on. It's going very strong. Of course, now it caters to mainly Indian children, and it has adopted the Tagore's value-based education system, and many children have actually grown up there. And initially, when the Bangladeshi children were there, I have been there often, and I mean, many very, very interesting things stick in my mind. One of the things I remember is that there was one boy, I think he was called Salamat, who came over, I think, quite late in the war, maybe in September or August or something like that. And he was asked, he was a little old, he was, I think, in his early teens, and he was asked, what were you doing all this time? I mean, you were alone, and where were you? So he said, at Ambagane লুকিয়েছিলাম। তো ওখানে কেউ খুঁজে পায়নি, আমবাগানে লুকিয়েছিলাম। তারপর ওখানে এদিক ওদিক লুটপাট হয়েছে, খানসিনারে এসছে, সবাই চলে গেছে, হচ্ছে আমি ওখানেই ছিলাম, ওখান থেকে বেরোইনি। তো then they asked, why did you come? I mean, you were there all this time, why did you come over? So his answer I still remember. He said, সব আম ফুরিয়ে গেল। So he sort of went through all the mangoes. When the mangoes got over, he had to come over. So anyway, this is one of the sort of humorous aspects of it. But at that time, I remember that with my mother and with Moitri Devi and with some of these freedom fighters, very young and very passionate people, we often crossed the river near Lalgola or Murshidabad and went over to still East Pakistan to see what was happening there and to see the state of children, particularly some children we could bring over from there at that time. And I remember one village that we had gone to. This was of course completely unofficial. This was not known to anybody. One village we had gone to, there were some sticks at one place, so I was standing over them, and one of the sort of senior Muktijoddhas told me, "Don't stand there. Whenever there are these sticks, these are graveyards. So there is a grave there. So don't stand there." So this was the entire place was full of these things. So these are some of the early memories I have of this thing. So my mother was involved in taking care of not only orphans but all our relatives, people coming over all the time. Some people from Shadhin Bangla Betar Kendra also were there. We met them quite often. We were also located quite close to the Bangladesh High Commission in Calcutta, so we had some connection with them as well. My father's contribution was entirely literary, entirely sort of sitting at home and writing a few essays, few pieces on the immorality of the problem. And he also got together many other people and informed them. Initially, there was a lack of knowledge. I mean, by April or May in 1971, people knew about it, but earlier than that, it was not very well known what was actually happening. So he took care of informing many people, telling his sort of literary friends, who were also very powerful, speakers, orators, writers, getting them motivated into this, things like that. So his involvement was sort of I would say secondary, but he got involved in whatever way he could. I mean, he was not the type that he would go out on the streets and lead protest marches or something like that, because he was very frail in health. And he did whatever he could from home. Changing tracks a little bit, one other incident that I would like to talk about in maybe 2 or 3 minutes is one of my mother's contributions which were not recognized. All this was very well known and documented and all that, but one thing was not recognized so well, and this was when she was a student at Shantiniketan. So in 1953. My mother, another gentleman, my mother's classmate called Nimai Chattopadhyay, under the guidance of Annoda Shankar Rai, who of course was a very well-known literary figure and poet and writer, under his guidance, they organized a literary festival for 3 days, where they called not only students but poets and writers from both East Pakistan at that time and Bengal, and they got together. The date of this meeting was 21st February 1953. This was exactly 1 year after these three people were killed because of the Bhasha Andolan here. And this was the first public commemoration of this incident. And then this, of course, became, everybody knows what happened, I mean, Bhasha Divash and International Mother Language Day and all that. But what people probably don't know is that this occasion in 1953 in Shantiniketan, where some few hundred young people had got together, because they wanted to commemorate this without too much fanfare, was the first commemoration of Bhasha Divash. And I got to know it not from my mother, she was very low-key about these things, but from Nimai Chattopadhyay, who worked in the Bengali section of BBC in London for a long time and who was also a very close friend of ours. He told me in detail about these things. Unfortunately, he's also no more, so there is no nobody who knows this thing at first hand. So I thought I would share this with you because this is, in hindsight, this is of great significance, but we often don't realize or we don't know this history. And I got very excited when I first heard it a few years back. So I thought I would share this with you. I think what, one issue that even last time your Prime Minister and your very interesting Foreign Minister, Deepu Moni, they both brought out is that this is late, but better late than never. So, you can never be too early because, everybody is not going to be there. And the earlier it is, the more people, and we still found quite a few people who were sort of first-hand involved in this thing. Your country was not, sort of ready to do it maybe 10 years earlier or 15 years earlier. There were political turnovers frequently, and there has to be a politically conducive atmosphere for this. And I think the atmosphere is now when your country has recovered. It is sort of economically and politically much more stable than it was before, and it can look back and think of all these things. So I was telling you about this short movie I have made. I call it Bangladesh, a Nation Remembers. And I think this is what is happening, that the nation is remembering, and we are very happy that we are being remembered and that you are remembering many people who are worth remembering. Of course, I mean, compared to my mother and father, I mean, there were so many other people who have contributed much more. I mean, they have laid down their lives, they have done much bigger things. But, everybody contributes in his or her own way. And the fact that you have recognized people from India, from all over the place, from countries, from many different countries, it's a great thing. So I'm personally very happy. I think I don't blame you for not doing it earlier because you have to start sometime. And I think you have started now. Personally, I have benefited a lot from this because I've met many interesting people in these two meetings, in the last meeting as well as now. And that has been a sort of personal benefit for me. And it is not often that you enjoy the sort of good things that your parents have done directly. So I'm doing this now, so it's very, very nice for me as well. My wife also was here with me last time. We both enjoyed it very much, enjoyed the hospitality. And last time everything went like clockwork. I mean, the organization was very good, notwithstanding the traffic. But this time I can see that because of sort of the passing away of your president recently, things have been a little more difficult for you to organize, and there was a national mourning, things like that. But I think those are incidental things, and overall it's a great occasion. And so many different people from different backgrounds meeting here. People from the army, people who are poets, linguists, social workers, all kinds of people coming together, exchanging their reminiscences. It's a great occasion, I think.